Yeah, ready to rock and roll.
Do you want to start or?
No. Yeah, I mean, we can, yeah, I can kick it off. All right, we're here with Pack Athletics here, along with the local media here, with head coach Philip Vigil. In week 0, CSU Bubble will be hosting South Dakota Mines right here at the Thunder Bowl, and kind of open the room up to questions. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Coach, just first question, obviously, the success you guys had last year, that senior group leading in, do you feel like now that you're really ready to go into the season, you know your culture, you know your guys, and you're ready to have that same level of success?
Yeah, I think, obviously there's a lot of external expectations on this team. I think people don't understand we lost 21 seniors last year. Particularly on the defensive side, we lost a lot of guys on the defensive side. And so, we had to go and replace those guys. We have some really good transfers that came in here in the spring that helped us tremendously. Our coaches have done a really good job developing and recruiting to be able to replace those guys. I think our senior leadership this year, these guys understand what it takes to be successful. I think the biggest thing that I've been encouraged by is just they understand that the only thing that qualifies you is the work. And they have put in the work. They put in the work all spring. They put in the work all summer. This was probably the most intense camp that I've ever been a part of, offensively, defensively. Both sides were making plays, and so it's been really encouraging from my point of view, because these guys, there's no complacency, which is tremendous. Now, does that correlate to a championship and a deep playoff run? I hope so, but we're not worried about that. We're worried about being the best we can be today and finding a way to get 1% better today.
Just defensively, does it take time to gel when you lose so many different starters? It might take like 2 to 3 weeks really to get that communication down.
I hope not. I hope we got those bugs out in the spring and through the summer and through fall camp. We were able to play in West Texas A&M in the spring as an outside opponent, and so we did a joint practice with them, and so we did get to see someone running around in a different color jersey and in a scheme that maybe they don't see every single day. And so I do think we're okay from that standpoint. Most of our guys, realistically, that came in from a transfer standpoint, were a couple of DBs, but most of them were up interior offensive line and defensive line. And so the communication in the back end hasn't been an issue at all this camp. Those guys are communicating well, and we play fast offensively, and so they're going to have to figure out how to communicate if they want to be able to be in the right spot defensively.
Offensively, Brett's class back, correct? Do you feel like that group is just going to kind of lead the way early on and just be really good?
I honestly think obviously having Reggie back is huge. He's a first-team All-American. He's a difference maker. He's a leader for our team. That connection between him and Roman is pretty special. It's pretty fun during practice to be able to watch those guys work out there. I don't know, if I'm being honest with you. Throughout fall camp, as a head coach, you want to see progress on both sides. And I would say that there were days that defense flat out dominated the offense, just like there are days that offense dominated the defense. And so it's been really good from a back and forth. And so I think Coach Foskey and our defensive staff have done a really good job of getting those guys on the defensive side ready to play. Now, having said that, our offense, we've got some playmakers. And I think the thing that excites me the most about our offense is the 4 big fellows that are coming back up front. Those guys have played a lot of football together. Coach Davis has done a really good job at getting them to play at a high level this fall camp, and I'm excited to see how that translates on Thursday night. It doesn't really matter who's out there at receiver or who's back there at quarterback. If you don't have guys up front to block, it doesn't matter.
How eager are they for Thursday?
They're ready.
Yeah.
I mean, they're ready. This is the first year, we're playing a week 0 again. And so our first day of camp was August 2nd. And so we've been seeing the same color jersey for the last 23 days. And so we're excited to see someone else on Thursday night. They're ready to rock and roll. They're already chomping at the bit. And so it'll be a lot of fun on Thursday night.
Go ahead. No, you go.
I was just gonna ask Coach, week 0 once again for the second straight year. How do you kind of is there a different mindset when you have to prepare a little bit earlier, and it also being a conference opponent?
Yeah, I think camp was a lot longer this year. We had an extra week of camp, and so we had 3 full weeks where all day, every day, all we were doing is football. And so I think, some of maybe the communication stuff that we talked about earlier and some of those things, I think we really got to push through a lot of that stuff. Week zeros are always different. Your first game is always different just because you don't quite know what you're going to be facing, right? And I know with the South Dakota Mines, Coach Floor, their head coach, is going to have them ready to roll. I know they're going to play extremely hard. I know they're going to be extremely well coached. Now, they've I think have 5 or 6 total returning starters from last year's team, and so there's a lot on their team that is just new, and we don't know. We don't know, what they're we have their 2 deep, and we know who their quarterback's going to be, but we don't know what he's going to look like on Thursday night, right? And so there's a lot there are question marks out there. I think the biggest thing going into any week one is just executing your game plan, executing what you do well, offensively, defensively, and special teams, and letting everything else fall where it may. We have to be really good at adjustments, in-game adjustments, to figure out what they're doing and how they're going to try to stop us or exploit us and adjust on the fly.
Just last year, the heartbreak in the playoffs, was that kind of motivation with workouts, everything this offseason?
Yeah, I kept talking to our team about, we lost 2 games last year by a combined total of 6 points, both at home, and then obviously in the second round of playoffs on the last-second field goal. And so we kept talking about finding 6 points. Like, we got to find those 6 points somewhere. And to their credit, like I said earlier, there's been no complacency. They're hungry. They're not satisfied by any means, And so I'm excited about, now we have that experience. Last year, you don't have playoff experience until you have it. It's just one of those things where you can talk about it and all those things, but playoff games are different. And, we were just in a leadership council meeting, and one of our defensive backs players, Peyton Shaw, said, "Coach, I've never been undefeated in conference. I've never been in a playoff game. I've been in both those things now, and I know what it's going to take." And so these guys understand that we have to operate at a higher level, and I think that's shown in fall camp.
Is that like the standard now? Hey, we got to be really good, and now we got to go beyond that point and win a playoff game.
Yeah, I think, again, like I'm not going to say we have to win a playoff game or we have to win a conference championship or we have to win a national championship. Like, that's not my goal. My goal every year is, and you can ask these guys, is to be the best team in the country getting better. And I want to, wherever we're at, I told them practice 1, we set our baseline. This is where we're at right now, and every single day from here we're building and we're finding a way to get better. And so that to me is what I want to accomplish. If that comes out in playoff wins and conference championships and national championships, look great. That's fantastic. But I can't worry about that, because if I worry about that too much, if we worry about that too much, we'll lose sight of today and what we have on our plate right now. And so that's really the main focus is being extremely present in the moment that you've been given, and finding out how to be as intentional as you possibly can with that moment and doing it again tomorrow.
3 straight Thursday games. Did you adjust your schedule just to kind of get your team on that routine? Maybe taking like Saturdays off instead of Sundays off? Yeah,
you absolutely do. It as a coach, it's completely backwards. And so, like, today was a Monday, but really it was a Wednesday, right? And so your practice schedule is different. Tomorrow's a Tuesday, but actually it's a Thursday from a practice standpoint. And so it definitely throws you for a loop. There's some things that you've got to adjust there, but I'm excited about the first 3 games. I think going on Thursday night can help, with attendance and things of that nature. And then, our last Thursday game is against Central Missouri. It's a long trip. We'll be going to Central Missouri. And so it'll give us a little bit of time going to Mesa the next week to be able to prepare for those guys and get ready to roll.
Do you like the leadership of this team, the core group, and kind of like the expectations and everything?
Yeah, I think we've got tremendous leaders. I think these guys are very serious in their approach to the game, their approach to practice, to preparation. There've been several times in fall camp where an older guy is pulling a young guy to the side and say, "Hey, that's not how we do things here. That's not the standard." And it's contagious, and our guys believe in how we do things and what we do, and the young guys get on board pretty quick. So, yeah, I'm really excited about our senior leadership this year.
No last questions, actually.
Coach, kind of circling back to the schedule. I know you like to, one opponent at a time, 1-0 each week, but you get to dabble into the MIAA a little bit. We get a really good opponent in 4 days. In week 1, second game of the year, and then week 3, like you said, you go to Central Missouri. How's it kind of? How have you had and the team had to adjust a little bit when the region gets mixed up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this year the regional realignment has changed some things for us, and then obviously the automatic qualifier within the conference, and then you also have 32 teams instead of 28 teams that are going to be going into the playoffs. So no team will have a first round bye. Those are all new things for us this year. Obviously the MIAA, I've coached in the MIAA 7-8 years of my career. I've been in the MIAA. It's a very, very, very good league, and I know. Are those come unplugged?
No,
No, it's good.
Okay. I know that both those teams are playoff caliber teams, and so for us, again, it's I want to play really good non-conference opponents. I want to get a good measuring stick of where we're at early, and again, try to build.
Okay, how's Coach, going back to Roman, and I'll end up here, Roman last year, split time with Devin a little bit earlier in the year, and then kind of took the reins there the second half of the year. Does he look a little bit more comfortable going into the season, knowing he's the guy now? How's his mentality?
I mean, Roman is extremely confident and extremely competitive, and so he's really taken the reins this spring and summer. With the receivers, talking to those guys every single day, throwing with those guys almost every single day, and getting on the same page. And so he definitely is operating at a higher clip than he was last year. I think it's going to be exciting to see what he can do against someone else.
anything you want to add, Coach?
I just appreciate you guys coming down and being
course.
here and making the trip, and excited about this team this year and the possibilities.
All right, we'll see you Thursday.
Awesome.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.